Hello everybody, and I would like to greet you once again in video today. In this video, we'll be discussing and we'll be dealing about a very important and vital topic of grammar, that is subject-verb agreement. So first of all, let's define the words subject and verb. So if you'll notice the sentences written over here, then you'll find that this Ram eats a mango. So Ram is the doer in the sentence. Likewise, in the second sentence, Ram and Mohan are the doers in the sentence because they are going to Patna. So the doers, or about which something is being told or being spoken or being written in the sentence, are called subjects. Okay. Verb. Now verb is a part of speech which actually expresses some action. Okay, to go is some action, isn't it? To eat, it is also some action. So action showing words are called verbs. Now subject verb agreement. In order to write your sentences 100% right and correct syntactically and grammatically, you should and must know a general thumb of rule in which a subject has to agree with a verb. Otherwise, the sentence would be pronounced grammatically or syntactically incorrect. So subject should and must always be what? Agreeing to some verb. Okay, it should and must be in an agreement to a verb. So now let's talk about some of the general rules and protocols which can be used by us or which are used by people in order to write or speak sentences syntactically and grammatically 100% or 100% correct. Okay, so the very first rule that we have got is a verb should and must agree with the subject in a number and person. Okay, you can see here that it has been mentioned that if a verb is there, okay, then that should and must be same in a number and person in which the subject is. Okay, let's pay attention to this example. Ram eats a mango. You will notice here that this Ram is subject and its is what? Its is a verb here. So Ram is singular number, so a verb is also here singular number. Always remember that when we add some s or es to a verb, it gets singular. But on the contrary, when we add some s or es to some noun, it gets plural. So always remember that rule. So Ram eats a mango. Likewise, you can see here that the subject is plural, isn't it? They is plural. So plural subject takes plural verb. This are is also plural. So they are eating bananas. Ram doesn't eat a mango. Likewise, this does is always used in singular cases. So Ram is singular. So likewise, verb has always to be singular as well. Okay. Now here is one exception to the rule. What is exception? That is not used in generalized rule or generalized approach. It is that we use a plural verb with I, am and was in simple tenses and you. It has been written that whenever we use I or you, we always use a plural form of verb. For example, I am going. Okay. Am and was are always used in simple tenses. Simple tenses are what? Simple present, simple past. Okay. So in these simple tenses, we use am and was with I and rest plural verbs with I and you. Okay. Is it clear now? Now let's move forward and hit the second rule. It says that if two or more subjects are joined by and. Okay. Remember that generally we use a plural verb. If in general case we would say, then we will be using what? A plural verb when two or more subjects are joined by and. For example, see, in a general approach, Ram and Mohan. So Ram is one singular subject and Mohan is also a singular subject. So if we will be adding two singular subjects with and, then the verb has to be plural. See, this eat is plural here. Okay, so Ram and Mohan are plural. Likewise, the verb has also to be plural. Likewise, you, he and I eat together. You might be knowing the rule number 231. It says that whenever we will be using all the three persons in the same sentence, then the second person has to be used first, then the third person has to be used, and at last the first person has to be used. So likewise, you, he and I eat together. Okay. Likewise, Sita, Geeta and Meeta are eating because these all three are making a plural. Okay, so that is why when plural will be made by adding two or more singular subjects, then generally we'll be using plural verb. Okay, now moving forward to the next rule. if two or more subjects are joined by and but refer to the same person of thing or express the same idea, we use a singular verb. What does it mean? It means that actually when the subject will be, when the two singular looking subjects will be added with and but the idea which will be what carried by both of them has to be same, then the verb has always to be singular. Okay, for example, bread and butter. See, bread and butter, actually speaking, both of them are here acting as a nominal. Both are a noun phrase here. Okay, because both are carrying the same idea of breakfast, isn't it? So bread and butter is my regular breakfast. Okay, likewise, slow and steady, both of these actually express same idea, manner. So slow and steady wins the race. The actor and poet is no more. Actually speaking, in this sentence we are talking about the same man who was actor as well as a poet. Okay, the same man is actually being talked about here, so that is why we'll be using is here. Okay, the fourth one says that if a plural subject expresses a specific amount of quantity considered as a whole, we use a singular verb. It says that whenever we'll be using some subjects which will be expressing some quantity or some amount which will be considered as a whole means as a whole and soul. Okay, so then we'll be using singular verbs. For example, 50 kilometers. See, 50 kilometers looks like what? It's a plural subject, but isn't it s in the last? But we'll be using this as a singular subject. So 50 kilometers is a long distance. Likewise, 500 rupees is a huge sum. Why? Because this 50 kilometers or this 500 rupees is actually what? This is a specifically what? Denoting some amount and quantity. So whenever some subject will be denoting some specific amount or quantity, then we'll be using what? Singular verbs. Next, if two subjects are joined by as well as or, nor, either or, neither nor, generally we'll be using a singular verb. Okay, this rule is very much emphatic. Okay, and people can be seen committing mistakes in these rules. Okay, these are some sort of what a specific rules. Okay, so pay attention. See, it says that whenever two subjects will be joined by as well as, for example, I as well as you. Here you can see that I is one singular subject and you is another subject. So both of them actually here had been what? Joined by as well as. So I as well as you. So whenever as well as will be used in a sentence, then generally the verb has always to be singular. You can see, likewise, either you or he has taken my pen. Okay, so it is very clear, but here we have got one exception again to the rule. Exception means that is beyond the rule, where rules are not applied. What it has been written? It has been written that whenever two subjects of different persons are joined with either or, neither nor, the verb agrees with the nearest subject to it. To it means here what? Here it refers to the same verb. Okay, for example, either he or his friends are guilty. If you'll notice the sentence, you'll find that in this sentence, either he or his friends are guilty. Now see, this are is a verb here, isn't it? This are is a verb here. So why this is plural? Because this his friends, the noun or the subject which is actually nearest to the verb, to this verb, his friends, this his friends is the nearest one. This he looks far, isn't it? So this verb is actually getting agreed with this nearest subject. Okay, am I clear now? Now let's quickly jump to the sixth rule. The words either, neither, each, every, everyone are followed by a singular verb. Whenever some words like either, neither, each, every, everyone will be used in a sentence, then after these words either, neither, each, everywhere, everyone, okay, after these words we will be using what? A singular verb. Okay, for example, either of the girls is guilty. See, here girls has been written, but even then the verb is singular here, because either of the girls, here either came. So that is why if either is in a sentence, then the verb has always to be singular. Each of them is guilty. Each of them means actually from that group, from their group, each one of them is being denoted. That is why each of them is guilty. Singular verb. Okay, now let's move forward. when two or more singular subjects are connected by, with, besides, together, with, no less than, and not, we use a singular verb. Here it has been written that whenever two or more singular subjects will be what? Joined. They will be linked with these words: with, besides, together with, no less than, and not, then we have got to use only what? Singular verbs. For example, the box with all its contents was stolen. See, actually speaking, this right from here to here, it's a nominal, it's a noun phrase. The box with all its content. The box, see, even you can also notice that the book here is one subject and all its contents, this is also a subject, and both of these singular subjects are actually connected or linked with here. So if in a sentence you see two subjects connected with, okay, or together with, besides, etc., then the verb has always to be singular. Okay, see here, the box with all its content was singular. One more what fact is that actually speaking, right from here to here, it's a noun phrase. That is why this was is being used here. Now see, Ram no less than them is guilty. Okay, so likewise is being used here. Okay, now let's jump to the next one, which is the eighth one. While using introductory there or it, the verb agrees with the number of the nouns that follows the verb. It has been written that whenever we will be using introductory there or king, for example, there lived a king, so introductory there is being used. It is raining outside, so introductory it is being used, isn't it? Likewise, whenever we will be using introductory there or it, then remember that verb always agrees with the subject or the noun which is actually what? Near to that verb, and it also agrees with its what? Number. Okay, do you follow me? For example, there were 6 boys in the class. See, this is the nearest one, isn't it? 6 boys is the nearest one to the verb, so this verb will be agreeing with these 6 boys. So 6 boys is plural. Likewise, the verb has also to be plural. Likewise, you can see in the next example, no money. Okay, this is singular. Actually speaking, this is plural, but this is acting as a singular, as a whole. So likewise, the verb has also to be singular. Do you follow me? Moving forward now, the subjects which look plural but are singular in meaning, take a singular verb. You might have noticed that there are so many words which actually appear plural to us but are used singularly. For example, the United States, okay, mathematics, physics, so S in the last. People get confused that these words are actually plural, but really speaking, these words are singular in nature. So you can see here in the examples I have just mentioned that the United States is a big country. The United States, S in the last, people will be what? Getting confused that this word is a plural one, but it is not a plural one, isn't it? So is being used. Is a singular verb. Likewise, physics is my favorite subject. Physics. See, physics is also a plural looking word, but actually speaking, this is singular one. So likewise, the verb has to agree with the singular subject. Okay, moving forward now. A collective noun generally takes a singular verb, but when it is a noun of multitude, it takes plural verb. Okay, first thing is, what is a noun of multitude? Whenever you will be noticing a collective noun, then you will be what? Thinking that actually speaking it as a whole. For example, let's talk about a class. So a class, if we will generally be thinking about the whole class, then the class has to be a collective noun. But if we will be talking about the members of the class individually, then that will be called noun of multitude, because here we will be talking about the members, each and every individual members of the class. But class is, remember, the class is always a collective noun, but when we will be talking about its members, a collective noun's members, then that will be called a noun of multitude. Okay, now moving forward now, the jury. See, the jury here is a collective noun, so that is why it is taking a singular verb. But if you'll notice here, the jury here is acting as a noun of multitude, so that is why it is just going with the flow and it is taking a plural verb here. Okay, moving forward now. A relative pronoun must agree with its antecedents, gender, number, and person. Here I has been misplaced by me. Okay, it's a typing mistake, so just skip it. Okay, just ignore it. So a relative pronoun, what is a relative pronoun? Relative pronouns always start a subordinate clause. If you'll remember clauses, then you must be knowing that a relative pronoun always starts a subordinate clause. The subordinate clause can be of three different types. We all know that: noun clause, adjective clause, adverb clause, but we are not talking about clauses here. Okay, so the thing is that whenever a relative pronoun will be coming in a sentence, then its antecedent. Now what is antecedent? Antecedent means the noun or pronoun which is just behind or just beside that relative pronoun. Okay, for example, if you'll notice here in the sentence, this is the boy who has stolen my pen. So this boy is coming right behind this relative pronoun who. This who is a relative pronoun, so right behind it or right beside it, so this is called antecedent. Okay, which actually what precedes the relative pronoun. Okay, so whatever the noun will be preceding the relative pronoun, that has to decide whether the verb will be singular or plural. For example, if you'll notice this sentence, this is the boy. So this boy, the boy is what? This is acting as an antecedent here, and who is what? Who is a relative pronoun. So likewise the boy is singular, so likewise the verb has also to be singular. Likewise in the next sentence, it is they who are to be blamed. So they is plural, who is what? Who is a relative pronoun. So likewise, since they is plural, so verb has also to be plural. So these are some sort of things which certain must be kept in mind while writing or speaking. Okay, so this chapter is actually very important and vital when it comes to what? cent% error-free writing or cent% error-free speaking. So that's all we have got in this video. See you in the next video. Okay, so till then, take a very good care of yourselves. Thank you and have a very nice day. Thank you.